Hi everyone, I'm Suzanne Boyd. Welcome to Learn and Share, brought to you by the Commonwealth Project. We hope you not only get something out of this programming, we also want you to share with your loved ones. Talk to them about what you've learned. You are not dependent on the news of the world. This is your moment to control the communication in your world. Enjoy. I'm Suzanne Boyd. Welcome to Learn and Share. We are so excited you're joining us today, and we have a really fun, interactive cooking segment for you. My friend Leslie Nifoussi is here with me today, and she loves to cook. In fact, she has been cooking plant-based for almost 20 years, and today we have several different recipes, holiday recipes, that are plant-based.
They are,
so
yes.
Talk to me about why you decided to go plant-based, because you did this about 20 years ago before it was trendy.
Yes, yes, I was ahead of the curve.
Yes.
But, you know, it started with a book, like so many things do. I had this notion that there was a different way of eating out there that I wanted to explore. So I got one of those idiot's guides, you know, and I was like, oh, this is for me.
Right.
And it really kind of exposed the whole, you know, animal abuse kind of thing, and then also went into just the health benefits of eating a plant-based diet. So with that, I made the decision that, okay, I'll give it a try, and it stuck. 20 years later, here I am.
So was this a gradual thing for you, or is this something that you just went all in?
It is, and I recommend if anyone is really trying or wants to explore this way of life, to do it gradually, because there's so much to discover, and I never felt like I was denying myself or not able to, you know, enjoy what I wanted. But it took a little bit of time to discover the things that are involved in plant-based. So it happens over time, for sure.
You know, and I think the hardest thing for me, you know, I have kids, you have kids. So the hardest thing for me has just been to find the food that really tastes good, and that you really, you are cooking really recipes, right?
Yes, and there's been so many home chefs and professional chefs before me in the plant-based world that have really discovered how to recreate, you know, some of our favorite dishes in a plant-based way. So I really, truly, and this has taken a little bit of time just kind of for the world to catch up with this way of eating, but I really don't feel like I'm ever missing out on anything. Even going to restaurants has changed over time, you know, but overall, for me, it's been a healthy journey. It's been, you know, one of discovery and of a lot of eating and a lot of cooking, of course.
How do you, did you notice the benefits almost immediately?
I did. I mean, I noticed, and I was much younger when I did this, but you know, I had a business, I had young children. I actually went through my pregnancies plant-based, and I never felt like I lacked energy. I felt immediately like a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
And I love that feeling. And I've of course gone back a couple of times to eating, you know, things that I don't normally eat. And I feel that right away too.
Yeah,
I feel different. Yeah.
All right, so today we are going to be cooking 3 separate recipes. One of them you actually don't cook.
Yes.
The no-bake.
Yes.
So talk to us about the 3 recipes that we're going to be cooking today.
Absolutely. I've brought a carrot soup, which I thought was really, really springy and bright and fun. And it's one of the recipes that I make at home, and I really love it. And it's very easy. So I thought that would be a good place to start. Then I brought a more traditional Jewish dish, which is called haroset. And it's on the Passover table every year. And what it represents is actually the brick and mortar and clay, or the clay and mortar, I should say, that the Jews used to make bricks for the Pharaoh when they were enslaved. So it's kind of like this sticky, sweet substance.
So you make this for Passover every year?
You do, yes. And I make it, a few different ways. In this way, we roll it up into little balls, so it's really easy to eat. And then for dessert, I was going to make these little tiny bird's nests. You don't bake them. They're really cute.
Wait until you see the finished product on those. They're really cute.
And then you put these little eggs, these little chocolate eggs in them, and eggs are also on the Passover table, and they represent the circle of life and all that springtime has to offer. So I thought it was a good addition.
I love it. So we're going to start with the carrot soup. So let's show you what you are going to need for the carrot soup. All right, so here's a look at the ingredients for carrot soup. All right, let's prop up that full screen graphic Bruce. Okay, here we go. So you need olive oil, scallions, or yellow onion, garlic cloves, carrots, curry powder, salt, water, non-dairy milk, and you can have some optional toppings.
There are loads of toppings you can put, and we can talk about that when we're done. And even, if you're not into plant-based, you could always use regular milk if that's what you have in your refrigerator, if that's what you prefer. So these can go either way, which is nice. So you want to get started?
Yeah, let's get started.
Yes, I'm going to turn on the oven here.
Just like food. This is like the real Food Network right here.
That's perfect. Yes, exactly. I'm going to start with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I always just eyeball my olive. Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's one. And that's another one. And that always looks like enough. So of course you can use a little bit more or a little bit less. And I'm going to just start with the onions. Put those in.
I use grapeseed oil. Do you?
I love to cook with different oils. I have avocado oil at home as well.
I love that,
a lot of recipes just start with olive oil. But I think if you're loving a different oil, go ahead and use it. Some of them cook at a higher heat, so they lend themselves to certain recipes, but it's really up to you, what you like.
So you just are browning the onions?
Exactly. I put a little bit of olive oil, put the onions in. This was a large yellow onion. You saw the ingredients list said you could use scallions as well if you wanted to.
When she walked in with the onion, I immediately smelled it.
Yes.
Were you crying this morning cutting the onions?
The tears are running down. It was so fragrant and it was so nice, but it kind of smelled up everything.
That's okay.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to get the onions out of here all day.
Yes, I did make this this recipe. Like I said, I make this one at home. My kids actually eat it.
Do they?
So it's a good way to get the kids to eat a bunch of carrots.
Yeah. So you could make this with your grandkids, and I think a lot of people stuck at home, they can't see family or have visitors. So this is a good recipe to kind of maybe do virtually with some of your family members.
It lends itself perfectly for that because there's not really a lot of ingredients. It's an easy one to make. So if you're going to do some virtual meeting with your family, this would be a nice one. Okay, here are the onions. They're starting to sizzle. I keep stirring them. I mean, I really don't have to, but I've learned that I have a tendency to burn things. So, which, that's how you learn.
It's true.
So I'm going to keep stirring them. And I think the onion versus the scallion is going to give it a similar flavor. So it's really what you have on hand, like I said.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and add in the garlic.
And that's fresh garlic.
It was 3 cloves. And the beautiful thing about this dish as well is that you blend it all at the end. So you can chop however you feel. It's like no big deal if you want to do a rough chop on all of this stuff.
And you can use the refrigerated garlic as well if you wanted. You have to be careful because it can be very potent, right?
It can be, yeah. And I also, if you don't have garlic, you can use garlic powder. I've used that as well. And there's a substitution for that as well. I think it's 1 teaspoon of garlic powder for 1 clove of garlic, which I've learned as well. So really, it's what you have on hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I need to turn that down?
Yeah, that would be great.
This oven is aggressive.
So the next thing I can smell that already, actually. It smells delicious. This is the best way to start a recipe because it always gives you that good smell. Now I'm going to put a little bit of salt. Again, salt is one of those things, it's really what your diet recommends, your doctor recommends, what your diet calls for. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of salt here, and you can always add more at the end.
At the end,
so,
I don't put a lot of salt in my food just because everyone feels differently about salt, and what's right for them. So
exactly, and I recommend really going easy in the beginning and then again adding at the end, and then I'm gonna stir that around for a second. And really, the next thing that goes in are these carrots.
Okay.
And again, this is a rough chop.
Right.
No, nothing fancy. I'm just going to scoop them up with my hands.
Do you want to put it, are these going in the blender?
No, it all gets blended at the end.
Oh, okay. So you put them in the pot first.
Yeah, and then I'm going to cover them with water. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because we want the carrots to get really soft.
Yeah.
That way the blender can handle them at the end. So the carrots are in. I'm going to give those a little bit of a stir just to mix them up with the onions and the garlic. So everybody's happy in there and getting to know one another.
They all get along together.
They do. I was thinking about this recipe and thinking, fun with carrot soup. And then I realized nobody ever uses that expression. You never.
Well, we're using it today, Leslie.
There you go. Fun with carrot
soup.
So all this is regular water, 4 cups. I'm going to pour that in. There we go.
Now, do you want to boil that?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's put it up to the very top. It's a very fancy oven here.
That's perfect. And you told me this is going to boil pretty quickly.
It's going to boil quickly, yes. This oven is no joke, or the stovetop is no joke.
And the other thing that I'm going to, and this is optional, that I'm going to add in is a teaspoon of curry powder. So, you know, spices are really personal.
Yeah.
Some people like certain flavors, other people don't. I found that just 1 teaspoon gives it enough kick for me and my family. You could always add more if that's, you know, your preference. But I'm going to throw that teaspoon in there.
Okay.
And I'm going to give it another little stir. And then we're going to see
how long does it normally take the carrots to boil down and get that softness to them?
Once it starts to boil, I'm going to lower the heat and let it simmer for about 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Once I stick a fork in a carrot and it's soft,
yeah, you're good.
You're good. Exactly.
And then you can start the blender, right?
Yes. Now there's you have a few options here. We have a blender, so we're going to scoop a little bit into the blender. We're going to blend in batches, small batches. If you have an immersion blender, you can do it right in the pot, which is really convenient.
Okay. And the immersion blender is what?
It's a handheld blender. Okay. And it just kind of goes into the pot, and you just move it around, and everything kind of.
But not everyone has one of those.
Yeah, I actually had to go out and buy one recently because I'm like, this is a really good tool to have if you're going to make a lot of soups and stews and stuff. So
yeah. Okay, so it's about to boil.
Yes.
And once it boils, then you turn it down. You want to let it simmer for a little bit, for about 15 minutes.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And I don't know if maybe we could move on to prepping the haroset while this does that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay, so our next dish is the haroset. And I know you had kind of explained a little bit about what this is, but let's show the recipe for the haroset, and so you can see what you need for that. All right, we're going to turn this down. Okay. Is that too much down? That's good, right?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. All right, so here is our next recipe. Sephardic haroset bites?
Yes. Sephardic is it's a sect of Judaism, or more, I guess, geographically location.
Yeah,
yes.
Gotcha. Okay, so these are and you say you normally don't put them in balls like this.
No, I don't. Yeah. In fact, when I saw this recipe, I thought, you know, what a good idea, because it's such a convenient way to eat this.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about some of so this is really like dates, nuts, grape juice, organic raisins, cinnamon. Oh, this sounds delicious.
It's delicious.
Toasted hazelnut, walnuts, and almond meal.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get that prepared.
You got it. So the first thing I'm going to do now, these are dates that I've cut in half, and I've been soaking them in grape juice.
These right here.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to take those and I'm going to put them in my little food processor here.
Okay.
You can see how they've gotten soft and sweeter, if that's possible for a date to be sweeter than it already is. And then I have, this is, I believe, a cup of raisins.
Dates are a good source of fiber, right?
They are. Yeah. Now I'm going to just bring this over here for a second to give it a couple of pulses.
And that's just a food processor.
This is a little mini food processor, which is...
The Ninja is aggressive.
It's powerful. It is.
It is very powerful.
Okay, so let me give it one more, just for good measure.
Oh, and our carrots are starting to look like they're getting soft. That's great.
That's awesome. Okay, so this is going to go into that bowl. This is like a puree of raisins and dates. And now I'm gonna, I'm gonna give these.
And you can put them in the same processor. You don't need to clean it out or anything. Right?
No.
It's all going to be mixed anyway.
It's all going to be mixed, exactly. So I'm just going to put my blade back in here. And
oops, forgot about the blade.
I'm out of order here. Hang on a second.
That's okay.
And so this is one of those things that's really going to be just a rough chop.
Right.
And that's not going to be doesn't have to be pretty.
Perfect.
It just has to be chopped up. And those are the kinds of recipes that I really like.
Yeah.
Because
you can kind of, you can adapt them.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, and food processors are, you can get them anywhere. You can get them online. Most people have them. I just bought a food processor not too long ago.
You know, they're really useful to have in the kitchen, and a lot of recipes do call for them. So I kind of avoided having one for quite a while, but then I finally broke down and got one. But we could have put them in your Vitamix.
Yeah.
And a lot of plant-based cooking is uses nuts to recreate a lot of cheeses and stuff. So so we do use a lot of nuts in
That's the one thing that I'm having a hard time with plant-based is the cheeses.
Yes.
The cheeses just don't taste the same.
They just don't. Well, I've discovered a really great mozzarella substitute and a really great ricotta substitute. I'm half Italian, so so I'm Jewish, I'm Italian, I've got all these things going on in my head.
All the things.
Yes. So I just added.
That should make you a really good cook.
It should. Yes. You're right. I added about a teaspoon of cinnamon, and I'm going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla. I like to live on the edge. I don't always measure.
Yeah, you don't measure anything. I
don't always measure. You know what?
You're a fly by the seat of your pants.
I am, and I'm going to grab a spoon here so that we can mix this around. So this is really a no-bake recipe, no-cook recipe too. Once you mix this together, and then you add in, I'm just going to sneak this one over here. You add in,
that?
This is a little bit of almond meal. Now you can use, if you're celebrating Passover, you're going to use almond meal because you don't want to have any leavened grain. But you can use any kind of flour really.
And what other grain would you use? Or what grain would you use?
You don't want to use rolled oats. You don't want to use wheat, but almonds are good. Yeah. So you could even throw almonds in this, in a food processor, grind them up finely and use that.
Yeah.
And really all it's doing is just binding these together.
Right.
And letting them stick together so they can form into little bite-sized balls.
But if you're making them other than for Passover, you could use rolled oats, is what you're saying.
You could, exactly.
Oh, that looks so good.
It's such a good combination of flavors. I have a huge sweet tooth.
Do you?
Huge, yes. So when the Passover meal comes around, I'm like, this is my go-to. This is where I spend most of my time.
Now, are these more of an appetizer, a dessert, or as the main meal? How do you?
It's part of the, when you have a Seder, you put this big round plate in the middle, and it has symbolic things in it, and this is one of the symbolic things. Gotcha. Yeah, and then as you go through the story of the Seder and the prayer, you eat a little bit of this before you even start your meal. So it's really, it goes before the meal. Yeah. But then you could also have some more. Okay, so with normal haroset recipes, you put this in a bowl, just like that. And then everybody scoops out a little bit. Yeah. But today I'm gonna roll them into balls. And being Italian as well, I'm used to rolling things into balls like that.
Like a meatball?
Yeah, like a meatball.
Okay, can I try one?
Absolutely.
I did wash my hands.
Absolutely.
The crew is all excited to try these afterwards.
And then once you have that, you have enough.
Clearly, I have no Italian blood in me because I'm not rolling them very well. Leslie, you're doing much better than I am.
My grandmother used to joke that her hand had permanently dented in the middle from all the rolling that she does. We used to make meatballs, which is part of the reason why my mom cried when I told her I was going to be a vegetarian. But we also made rice balls, which maybe I'll bring to you someday.
Rice balls are so good. Yes, so good. I've had them at an Italian restaurant here down the street. Oh. Yeah, they're so good with like mushrooms in them and stuff.
Yes, yes. And I now that I can recreate some plant-based cheeses, I can make them completely plant-based. Yeah. But a lot of people say, I want to be plant-based, but I don't want to give up meat altogether.
Right.
And I think that that's a great thing. I think, just a little, maybe once a week, you commit to not eating meat.
Right. Every Monday, it's your meatless Monday or whatever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that idea.
You did pretty well. I couldn't tell mine from yours.
I don't know. That one looks a little off. That's okay. They don't have to be perfect,
exactly.
right?
I'm going to throw that one right there. I'm going to give my hands a little bit of a rinse.
Yes, me too, but I'll let you go first.
And then I'll check on our carrots.
Now, do these you cook or no?
You don't.
They're ready how they are.
Yeah, you know what?
Okay.
They could use a little bit of chilling. So what I would do is put them in the refrigerator until you're ready to use them.
Right.
And then, and I'll show you at the end, we can...
Go ahead, I'm just going to rinse off mine.
I'm going to grab this plate if that's okay. I made these yesterday. And I told you
they working kitchen, folks.
They look like little meatballs. Yeah,
oh my gosh,
you
those are
serve
so
them.
pretty.
This is matzah.
Yeah.
So this is also on the Passover table, of course. So the idea here everybody would have a piece of matzah on their plate. They would break off a little piece of matzah, put a little ball on there, and and you're good to go.
I love it. Okay. All right. So how is our carrot soup looking?
I'm going to pull out a little bit of a carrot, and I don't think I have a fork out here.
I'll give you a fork.
Thank you. If I can get a fork through it, then we're good
to go.
Yeah, and I'm going to take this out before we have any problems. I think they're good.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, I cut it with a fork. They're good.
Okay, so once they're able to be cut with a fork or a knife, then you know that your carrots are ready to be blended.
Exactly, exactly. And so this is really the last part of this recipe. You're almost done with the soup. So it didn't take that much cooking, really. Okay, so...
Yeah, this is such an easy recipe. I mean, they're both easy recipes.
Yes, you know what, and you learn when you have children, when you have, when you have job, when you have whatever, that the less time you can spend in the kitchen and still make really good and healthy stuff, is the better off you are. So how I'm going to do this is in little batches, and I'll show you how this works.
Okay. Are we actually blending this? Yeah.
You want to blend? I'll blend it for 2 seconds, and then...
I don't think it's plugged in.
Oh, okay.
But you do blend this. Let's pretend.
Okay.
Blend. Okay, so you blend that.
Yeah, here's the process. Then I would take this, blended. I would dump it back in.
Oh.
And then I would take some more, blend it again, dump it back in. And so that's how you get everything incorporated into a smooth soup.
Gotcha.
Yes, and that's why in immersion blender, everything stays in the pot. You just stick the blender in there.
Oh, so that might be better to just go and get the immersion blender.
Yes, I have one. I'll bring it with me next time.
Okay, gotcha.
But the final product, if you'd like to see it, is right there.
So
and what
pretty.
I have is...
I'm going to put this next to the roasted bites. So it looks dark for carrot soup, right?
It does. Well, I made this one with rainbow carrots, which was kind of fun because that's what I had in my refrigerator. They were purple, yellow, and orange. So if you're making them with just orange carrots, you're going to get a really vibrant orange, which is fun. Yes. So we are having fun with carrot soup. Yeah. But this one is a little bit darker. So the toppings are really endless. You can use some pumpkin seeds on there. You can put brown rice in here, make it, a heartier meal. I'm going to put a little bit of chopped apple on there. Oop, there goes one. And that's how you eat it. It's really just it's warm.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's pop up those recipes again because I do want people to be able to write them down if you want to make the carrot soup. All right, so here are the ingredients again. We did the olive oil with the onion and the garlic. We put the carrots in with some curry powder, some salt, and then got them a little softer by boiling some water. And then, so the non-dairy milk, is that the last step?
That is. After you've blended on, I won't be able to show you here because we didn't blend this here, but I have some non-dairy milk. Again, you can use regular milk for this. You just pour it in and whisk it together. And that gives it a little bit of a creamier texture.
Consistency. Yeah, I love that. Okay, and then any topping that you want. All right, let's put up the recipe again for the haroset bites because I want people to be able to see that one more time. And it's dates with in some grape juice, right?
To soften them up.
To soften them up with raisins, cinnamon, hazelnuts, walnuts, and then the almond meal. And they're so easy. You just put them into little balls and put them in the refrigerator for a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay, so we don't have a lot of time for our final dessert, which is our favorite.
Yeah, I know.
It's my favorite.
I talked about the haroset. Okay, so I can just start it and then we'll show you the final product. How about that?
Yeah.
So this is just some regular peanut butter. I'm going to put it on the stove. And you know, a lot of people say that plant-based is healthier, and I do think that it's healthy, but when you get a recipe like this that calls for lots of peanut butter, lots of chocolate, lots of candy on top, you know, you're kind of pushing, pushing that limit a little bit.
Yeah, well, you can get natural and everything. Like, you could get natural peanut butter, right? I mean, or you can just do regular.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, you can get what you like. And you know what? Sometimes you have to live a little. That's what I say. Right. So I put peanut butter, coconut oil. I'm now going to put honey in here. This is a very sticky recipe, about a 1/4 cup. You can kind of eyeball it. And then this is all going to melt down together. You couldn't really mix these products together without heat because it would never work. And so once that melts together, I'm going to add the following. Cocoa powder to make them chocolatey.
Okay.
Coconut to make them look like little nests that we make at the end. And then this is ground up matzah. Now this is the recipe where you could use rolled oats if you want to, but if you're doing for Passover, I just crushed up the matzah in a plastic bag.
Gotcha.
And so I'm going to put all of that together once this melts. And I don't know if we want to wait for that, but I do have some finished ones over here if you want to take a look at them.
Yeah, let's take a look.
They're super fun.
They're so cute. And so there's no baking these. You just have to mix the first few ingredients in the oven.
Yeah, right on top of the stove. And then once it cools down, once everything is mixed together, I put all of this stuff together in the pot.
Right.
It cools down enough for you to handle. You're going to just put these on a cookie sheet and make them into little circles. And put your thumb in the middle to give you that little divot. Yeah, and then you put them in the refrigerator or the freezer so they get hard. And then you take them out and you put as much candy on them as you want.
Yeah, this is great. And your kids must love those, right?
They
well, everyone loves those.
Yeah, they just liked the act of putting the egg on the nest. They thought that was really great. Yeah. So
all right. So I love all these recipes. They look so delicious. I want to try this soup.
Go for it.
Should I try it? It looks really delicious.
You know, the soup, if you have leftovers, it makes a great lunch.
It's really good.
I'm glad you like it.
It is really good. It tastes similar to like a butternut squash soup.
It does. Yeah, it does. And I have one child who will not touch a carrot. So I just call.
I don't really like carrots. When you said the recipe, I was like, but I think I think you're right about the milk.
Yeah,
it really does make a huge difference.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think that there's a really good springy, like I said, and this is such a great time of year for this kind of food.
Yeah, it is a great time of year. All right, Leslie Nifoussi, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. This has been really fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again with some more recipes. I'm going to let you handle that because you're a lot better at cooking than I am.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for Learn and Share. We hope you learned something, and we hope you'll share it with your friends and family. And if you have any questions, obviously you can email us as well. Have a great day. Okay, get your phone, tablet, or computer out and share what you just learned with your friends or family. Talk to them about it. We'd also love for you to talk to us and tell us what you would like to see on this program. Is there something you've always wanted to learn? Email us at info@tcphealthcorps.com. Stay connected and continue to learn and share.